Hey guys, and welcome back to Every Single Scratch Block Part 4. Today we are looking into sensing and operators. Start right off. First up is the sensing category. Here we have tons of inputs. So you put these inside of a block as an input. For example, if it has this edgy shape, then it goes into a slot with these edgy shapes. Meanwhile, if it has a rounded shape, then it goes into something that has a rounded shape. First up is touching mouse pointer question mark. This can be used for touching the mouse pointer, the edge, or any other sprite that you've created. The touching color block is that you can put any color that you want into here, and when your sprite touches that color, then it will activate whatever this is put into. For example, if I put this in an if, then it's if touching color then. Anything in this blocky shape is a condition, and it checks if a condition is true. This is extremely useful if you're doing something where you want it to be touching something or whatever you want. You want it to keep doing something until it's touching the color, etc. Color something is touching color. This is similar to the previous block, but instead you set this to a specific color on your sprite, and if that specific color on your sprite is touching a specific color outside of the sprite, then it will activate or be true for whatever. Distance to, you can set this inside to mouse pointer or any other sprite. It calculates the distance between a sprite, another sprite, or your mouse pointer as a value that you can use. Ask and wait and answer both go together. Ask something and wait simply opens up and ask opens up a little window at the bottom. You just enter your answer. You hit the check mark, and then that whatever you put in is saved in answer, which you can use as a value. Key something press. This inside of here, you can set it to any of the letter keys or number keys, as well as the arrow keys, space, or you can set it to be any of those keys. Mouse down checks if the mouse down, mouse X and mouse Y, you can put these into values slots. So you can use the value of the X of the mouse and the Y of the mouse. Set drag mode, you can set the mode to draggable or not draggable. When you're in the editor here, you can drag it even if this is turned off. But when you're in here, you can't drag it around unless you set the drag mode to draggable, and then you can do that. You can drag it around. Loudness is an input for how loud a noise that's playing is. Then there's timer and reset timer. Reset timer simply resets the timer, and then when you click the check box over here, you can see here there's the timer. This timer keeps going, and it's reset whenever you click the green flag or when you use the reset timer. Thing of thing. So you could set this to be anything that's inside of another one. This is especially useful if you want to get a value from another sprite. I'll make an example. So let's say we want to know this apple's X position and use this in our code in here. Usually you can't use that, but with the thing of thing block you can. First, select this side and select whatever you want to take the value from, in this case the apple. And then here you can set it to what you want: X position, Y position, direction, the costume number, the costume name, the size of the sprite, and the volume of the sprite of the sound the sprite is making, or if you set any variables inside of that sprite, you can use that too. Next is the current year, month, date, day of week, hour, minute, or second. You can use this if you want your game to incorporate the current year or time. You might want a year counter. You can see here, the current year is 2023.
And it's the 8th month, and we can also have 8 months on the 14th day. It's the second day of the week as of recording this, Monday. The current hour, the military time, current minute, and then the current second.
You can use this if you want to make like a clock or something like that, or maybe a countdown timer until a specific time, like maybe when your next big scratch game launches. Days since 2000. Here you can see the value of how many days it's been since the year 2000. And then username. You can use this, and if you're making something like a game where you use the person's name, when you create um, an account, you make a username. And then if you're playing a game that uses this, and let's say one of the characters says the username, you can use this to easily access the username and use it. Next up is operators. So first we got the math, the three basic math blocks. Of course, you know these as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. You can put values in these sides. You can also put stuff like these in, but you can only use numbers inside of these bubbles. Any words will not work. Next is the pick random block. This will pick a random number between whatever you put in this bubble to whatever you put in this bubble. Then there's the comparing blocks. You can see these have jagged edges because it checks if the condition inside is true. So you can put a value in here or a value in here, see if one is above the other in here, vice versa, see if it's smaller or if it's equal. Next are these. They're also jagged, which by now you should know. That means that if it checks if the condition inside is true. Now you can see there's jagged inputs on the inside too. So you could check if two conditions are true, like if you're touching something and you're also being clicked or something like that. You can also use the or where you want it to do something if one thing is true or the other thing is true, and then not, which instead it just reverses it. And if it's not true, and it sees if it's not true, it's true. Join something something. You can use this to join two values together or whatever you put in here. In this case, it joins apple and banana. And since there's this, which can be pretty cool if maybe you want to input something and it want to be like, okay, your number is, and you can put number and then like what the input right there. Letter something of something. You can set this to a number, and you can set this to a number or a word, and it'll just output whatever that letter or number was. Length of, it just said it looks at the length of the word, how many letters in the word, or how many numbers, or how many digits in your number, and then uses that as an input. Something contains something, which is a true. Is it true? New input. So does apple contain A? In this case, yes, that is true. Does it contain a B? In this case, that is false. Next is the mod block. So the first number you put in here and the second number you put in here, those numbers will be divided, and then the remainder will be the output. Let's say 5 divided by 4, that has a remainder of 1, so the output will be 1. Next up is the round block. This will round this to the nearest whole number. If you want a decimal to be a whole number, let's say 2.4, this will round it to the nearest whole number, in this case 2. Something of something, this is in this one, you can set this to any other mathematical sign. I'm not going to go into this as I don't know what most of the stuff means, but If you do want to know about how some of this stuff is, there are probably great tutorials out there on YouTube that you could probably search up right now if you're curious about this block. And it simply just finds the thing of whatever you have inputted here. And that is all for today. Next, we will be looking at variables, lists, and custom blocks.